So I'm a huge fan of eating yogurt, but it gets kind of expensive, right? When a tub of yogurt can cost easily $6 or $7, but you can easily make yogurt at home for a fraction of the cost. It is super, super easy to do. So anyways, watch this video and I'll show you how. So to make yogurt, you'll need a couple simple ingredients. Of course, you're gonna need milk. Any milk will do. I like the 0% to have a non-fat Greek yogurt, but anything, even up to like heavy cream will work. The higher fat, kind of like the creamier your end product's gonna be. You'll need some old yogurt. Obviously, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you probably don't have any old homemade yogurt laying around. But if you go to the store and any of your plain Greek yogurt that says active live cultures in the ingredients, any of that'll work. You'll need an empty container to put your yogurt in. You'll need a pot for cooking it on the stove. And then optionally, this isn't required, but if you want to strain your yogurt to make it a little bit thicker like a Greek yogurt, you can use either like cheesecloth, or I like to use, this is like a metal mesh strainer, and then like backed with a coffee filter. But you don't need to do that if you don't want to. So the first step is that we're gonna have to heat our milk on the stove. And so what we're gonna do is just pour it into a pot. And then we're gonna turn it to medium-high heat. And then using a spoon, we're just gonna kind of slowly stir it. And this should take a couple minutes. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this up to 180 degrees. So if you have a thermometer, you can use that. Otherwise, it'll be kind of just before the boiling temperature. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna denature the proteins in the milk, which basically that's just a fancy word for it's gonna restructure the proteins. That way, when the milk's fermenting, it'll get that nice creamy yogurt texture. If you skip this step, basically your yogurt is gonna be really runny and kind of it's not gonna be a good texture. So this is a very important step here. All right, so now that our milk is at 180 degrees, we're gonna go ahead and turn down the temperature just a little bit. That way it's not gonna keep heating up. And then we're gonna keep stirring it, and basically we're gonna let this sit at about 180 degrees for about 5 minutes. So after our milk has sat at 180 degrees for about 5 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and cool it down to about 110 to 115 degrees. And so I've got it sitting in a bucket of ice here. You can also just kind of let it cool down naturally. But I like to speed it up a little bit faster with this ice bucket. So I'm gonna just kind of stir it around a little bit, make sure all that milk gets cold nice and fast. And again, 110 to 115 degrees is now what we're looking for. All right, so our milk is all cooled down. We're reading 111 degrees right there, which is about perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take about half a cup of our old yogurt, half a cup per, I guess that was half a gallon of milk I used. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Yeah, it's probably about half a cup, doesn't have to be super exact. Basically, we're gonna put that old yogurt in there. I can take out my thermometer now. And then we're just gonna go ahead and kind of mix that around really well. Get it all dispersed into that milk. All right, so once our old yogurt is now mixed into our slightly warm milk, we're gonna go ahead and pour this into whatever container you wanna store your yogurt in. So hopefully not gonna spill this everywhere. Look at that, that wasn't too bad. Oh no, it's going out the back, never mind. There we go, that wasn't too bad. We'll top it off here. Just like that. All right, so we're gonna take this and now we're gonna put a lid on it. Just like that. Take our towel, I'm gonna wipe off this jar a little bit. And then we're gonna go over to our oven here. And I don't have any sort of like a bread proof or anything like that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set that right in the oven and turn the oven light on. So now our oven light's on. And I have this little sign that I use for sourdough so that we don't accidentally start the oven right there. And then basically I'm gonna leave this in there and this will stay in here, stay nice and warm, anywhere from 4 to 24 hours. So if you do, the shorter you do it, the more mild tasting your yogurt's gonna be. I like a nice strong sour yogurt, so I like to do mine for at least 12 hours. So anyways, we'll come back to this tomorrow morning and check it out. So it's been about 14 hours, so we can go ahead and take our yogurt out of the oven. Just like that. It's still nice and warm from that oven light. Now, if you don't want to strain your yogurt, if you want just kind of like a thinner consistency yogurt, you can stop right here and put this in the fridge and eat it. This will last for about 2 weeks in the fridge. And yeah, you can totally just stop right here. But if you want a thicker, more of like a Greek style yogurt, we're gonna go ahead and strain it. So to do that, we're gonna take off the lid. And then using like cheesecloth, or I like to use a coffee filter, so you can see on the top, see how it's kind of liquidy, right? We're gonna go ahead and put our coffee filter on the top. And then I've got this little screen and then a little lid that's got some little teeth on it that help it stand up. All right, so we've got our lid with our coffee filter and our screen on it. The screen on it here, it's a little bit too thick for the yogurt, or sorry, a little bit too big of holes for the yogurt. But it basically supports our coffee filter. That way our coffee filter doesn't get too heavy and rip. So then all we're gonna do is take it, and I've got like a bowl here, so I'm gonna set it upside down in this bowl. Just like that. And you can already see a little bit of liquid starting to drip out of that. And then I'm gonna set this in the fridge, and we're gonna leave it in the fridge for a few hours. So I've had this yogurt sitting, straining in the fridge for a few hours now, and I got a whole bunch of liquid out of it. You could always let it strain longer if you want to get more, but that is pretty much just how I like my yogurt. So anyways, this will last in the fridge for up to about 2 weeks. And yeah, it's great. You can basically make yogurt like this indefinitely. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.